see in the progressions increases phenomenally as well.
那么，当我们对占星学的基础的理解的深度增加的时候呢，就好像突然的，我们对这个推进、行进都有更深刻的理解了。
If you're driving a car at 75 miles per hour,
那么，如果你是以75米的这个每小时的速度来驾驶你的车的时候，
say 120 kilometers,
或者是150码的话，
and you slow down to 20,
如果你这个降速到20码的话，
you start to notice things you didn't see before.
那么这个时候呢，你就会开始注意到你之前好像开快车的时候没有注意到的那些东西。
Like if you walk through a neighborhood, you see things you haven't seen before.
那么就好像说你开车开过了那些街区，你速度慢的时候，你会看到之前没有看到的那些事情。
So when you slow down and watch 3 months and you're watching the progression move slowly around your chart,
那么如果你慢下来，这就是好像你慢下来，然后呢，你去看你出生后以后三个月发生的事情，慢下来去看的话，
you discover things about your natal chart you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
那么你就会发现那些你之前通过本命星图没有办法发现的事情，那些秘密。
You increase your depth perception.
那么你就会增加你的这个理解的深度，对自己理解的深度。
At the same time, you increase the mystery.
那么在同时呢，你也增加了自己作为一个人的、作为一个灵魂的神秘性。
Everything is a miracle.
每一个事情都是一个奇迹。
It's a miracle we live a day.
我们能活一天是一个奇迹，
Just because of germs, it's a miracle we live a day.
因为世界上那么多的细菌，我们能生存一天也是一个奇迹。
It's a miracle we survive our mothers.
那么我们能够从我们母亲的掌管下存活下来也是一个奇迹。
I was in there.
那么我竟然在我母亲肚子里。
It's a miracle we survive our teachers.
那么我们能够从我们的老师、从我们的教育体制下存活下来，也是一个奇
Our
迹。
husbands or wives, what a miracle to survive. It's a miracle to survive our husbands or wives.
对我们来说，我们能够从我们的这个老公和老婆的魔掌下存活下来，也是一个奇迹。
Our in-laws.
从我们的这个就是公公婆婆、丈母娘那儿存活下来，也是个奇迹。
Our bosses.
从我们的老板那儿存活下来，
Our kids.
从我们的小孩那儿存活下来，
It's all a miracle.
都是一个奇迹。
If you're seeing it right, there's nothing to be depressed about.
如果你能看清楚这一点的话，我们的生命中没有任何的东西是让我们值得我们抑郁的。
It's too absolutely incredible.
那么所有的事情都是这么奇妙，
Everything has meaning.
每一个事情都有它的意义。
You know, so, okay, so, yeah, the more you're in, the horoscope's your matrix, and it's filled with all kinds of databases.
那么你的这个星图就好像一个矩阵一样的，它有很多不同的这个层级的这个数据库组成的。
It's your DNA, it's more than a symbol.
那么它是你生命的 DNA， 它是超越那个符号系统的。
We completed the fundamental understanding of secondary progressions.
那么我们刚刚呢就结束了我们对于月亮24线推运法的这个非常基础的，但是也非常深入的教学和理解。
You have to know this well before you go further.
那么你必须要在你走更远之前，去学好这些知识。
Some examples of increasing the database would be just pentans, eventually subpentans, and degrees.
那么，有一些例子呢，就是有一些东西可以帮我们更好的增加这个推进的这些知识的话呢，那么其中的这些知识呢，包括 patterns 是
So sensitivity to color, to sound.
那么，包括这个对颜色和对声音的敏感度都可以加在里面。
You can interpret your whole chart by color.
你也可以去通过颜色来理解和解读你的星盘。
Or your relationship to sound and music.
那么你也可以通过你的星盘跟音乐的这个关系，这个独特的乐曲来理解你的星盘。
And you got constellations.
那么你也有一些星群。
Now, most of the astrology is writing about Western constellations. Most astrology uses Western
那
constellations.
么大多数的占星师用的是这个西方的这个星群系统。
The Eastern Chinese constellations are filled with meaning.
那么，但是中国的那些星群呢，也是具有非常多的意义的。
It hasn't been written yet. They're there in the astronomy books, but not in the astrology.
那么它在那些天文书上，就是都记录下来的，从古到今，但是还没有加入到占星学体系中。
Then you have the individual stars where they are.
那么我们还有就是说，天上的一颗一颗的星星也可以结合到星盘中来。
Your progress sun's moving along, it might touch a first magnitude star.
那么你的推进的这个太阳呢，可能会移动的时候，它会这个触发这个星群中的一颗小星星。
And then if something special happens in your vision or some special light comes in for a year or two.
那么也许这个特殊的光，天上的特殊的光或者特殊的智慧就会来到你的生命中，那个时候。
So then you can go over a really dark star or a really difficult star.
那么也许你也会在这个次新的太阳会推进触发一个非常这个激烈的或者会让你痛苦的星群。
This is all on another level. So this is I call this the Pentan system.
那么我把它叫做一个 pattern 的系统。
You know how you have hours, minutes, seconds?
那么就是小时那个分钟和秒。
You have 1 hour, 60 minutes an hour, but then you have the minutes, and there would be 60 of those going around. Then you have the seconds going around inside the minute.
那么就是说，大的圈是小时嘛，小时是由60分钟组成的，所以中间的一个圈就是1/60，然后呢，那个最里面的一个圈是秒，也是那个分钟的1/60。
So when you see it in the zodiac, I use the turtle.
那么我看那个星盘的话呢，我会用那个龟壳的形状把它们标出来。
The I Ching was found on the back of the turtle.
那么易经是在那个龟壳上发现的。
The feet are the fixed signs.
那么这个固定的星座。
The head's Aries, the tail's Libra.
那么这个就是说，头它是这个白羊座，然后。
And your zodiac is around it.
那么所有的12星座呢是在它周围的。
So just as you have half of the year daylight's greater, half the year's nighttime's greater.
就好像说一半的年这个日常角度。
With the 12 signs, we have 6 masculine signs, 6 feminine signs.
那么在那个12个星座呢，我们有6个阳性星座，有6个阴性星座。
So the zodiac repeats itself every 2 signs.
那么每2个星座呢，就是说这个黄道12宫就会重复它自己。
The masculine signs are like summer, spring and summer.
那么阳性的能量就是春天和夏天。
Projective.
是投射性的。
The feminine signs are like fall and winter.
那么阴性的能量就好像说秋天和冬天。
It's a very simple system.
那么是非常简单的这个系统。
Just back it up, please. Yeah. So if you put it on the zodiac, every 5 degrees is a sign of the zodiac.
那么我们把这个每5度就是变作一个星座的话。
Now we're getting really Chinese.
那么这个是非常中国的教学，中国的。
Because you can take your progressed sun through 30 years to a sign, and you break it up into 5-year plans.
那么就好像说我们的次新的月亮、次新的太阳会30年在一个星座，但是呢，这30年我们会去进行5年的规划。
What does the Chinese government do?
中国政府会做什么事情
？5-year plans.
5年规划。
Okay, but they're easy to remember.
因为它们非常容易的让我们记住。
The first 5 degrees of a masculine sign, first 5 degrees of Aries, first 5 degrees of Gemini, of Leo, of Libra, of Sag, and Aquarius are all Aries.
那么所有的这个白羊座，然后这个双子座，然后这些星座的开始的5度都是白羊座，白羊的能量。
5 to 10 is Taurus.
5个这个度数呢是那个金牛。
10 to 15 is Gemini.
那么10到15度呢是那个双子。
15 to 20 is Cancer.
15到20呢是那个巨蟹。
20 to 25 of all the masculine signs, 2025 has a Leo theme.
20到25度呢是有一个狮子座的主题。
25 to 30 is Virgo.
25到30度呢就是处女的能量。
If you're in a feminine sign, Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, Pisces, then the first 5 degrees is Libra.
那么如果你是在那个
If you're in a feminine sign, Taurus, Gemini, Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces.
如果你是在一个这个阴性的星座，也就是说，金牛座、巨蟹座、处女座、天蝎座和这个，天蝎座和摩羯座。
Then the first 5 degrees is Libra.
那么他们的前5度呢是那个，就是说他们的前5度都是天秤座。
5 to 10 is Scorpio.
然后呢，5到10呢是天蝎座。
So 5 to 10 of Scorpio. If you're in there, you're going to be Scorpio with a Scorpio sub-theme.
那么你可能是这个时候呢，你到了这个度数的话，你可能会有一个天蝎座的小主题。
So 10 to 15 is Sag.
那么10到15度呢是射手座。
15 to 20 is going to be Capricorn.
15到20度呢是那个。
15 degrees of the sign is like the summer solstice or the winter solstice.
那么中间的这个15度呢，就好像是夏至和冬至一样的能量。
The greatest brightness, the greatest darkness.
那么就好像是最大的这个白昼和最大的这个最长的黑夜的时间。
So you'll find in astrology many books talk about 10 degrees divisions, but they'll talk about quads. They put the whole zodiac in one sign and repeat them. They're all 2.5 degrees. You'll find many systems of dividing it, many number systems.
那么就有很多这个数学的系统，这样的分割的系统来，有很多这样的书籍去撰写这些系统吧，有不同的分割的系统。
When you start applying this, you see it.
那么当你去应用的话，你会看到自己星盘中的这个活生生的这些例子。
So it's very useful, but it increases your depth. Now your progressions suddenly have, well, your son's 30 years in a sign, but you've got these 5-year plans.
那么这个是非常有用的，就是当你在自线推进的时候，你的月亮可能，你太阳可能要走30年，但是在这个30年历程中，你可能有不同的5年计划。
And 5 years, you're going to have a rulership, a special relationship to that ruler.
那么在5年的这个特殊的5年中呢，你可能有一个不同的这个守护星，就是这个守护星的能量也是独特的。
This is enough to get used to just to start with your natal chart, Latino charts.
那么我们用我们的这个出生星盘、本命星图去理解、去熟悉这个能量，也是非常有意思的。
But it goes deeper.
那么但它还可以挖得更深。
So if you have Aries and Taurus here,
那么如果你在这儿有这个白羊座和金牛座，
in 10 degrees,
在10度的距离，
you can repeat the zodiac in 10 degrees.
那你可以在这个星盘中的这个通过又有10度来这个重复。
And each sign is 50 minutes of 1 degree. Each sign, each sub-sign like this is 50 minutes of 1 degree.
那么每一个这个小的这个那个就是说组合呢，都是有这个10度左右吧，15度。
So this has the 3 cycles: the signs, the pentans, and then the sub-pentans.
那么就好像3个周期，3个部落，然后还有小的部落组成的。
Now we're getting deeper into the zodiac.
那么现在我们好像进入了这个星座的这个更深入的这个领域了。
Any position of any planet in the zodiac has a sign, a pentan, and a sub-pentan.
那么每一个星座呢，这个行星在这个星座里面都有一个星座，然后它属于一个好像部落，还有个次部落一样的。
It's like the sign is your main theme.
那么好像就是星座是你主要的主题。
The pentan is a special focus.
那么那个部落呢，是你的一个特殊的一个专注的东西。
And the sub-pentan is intimate detail.
那么小的部落呢，就是一个它非常重要的一个细节的东西。
I'm showing you this just so that we've done all this technical thing, we've seen it, you've got enough to work with, but I just want to show you where it can go, that it can become huge.
那么我们之前学了很多基础的东西，那么这些都是附加的额外的。我想要让大家了解，说你还可以走得更深，可以怎么走，可以怎么去扩大你的视野。
So this is the horoscope. It's with color. Each sign of the zodiac has its color.
那么这是一个星图，那么这个星图中呢，就是每一个星座的话都有不同的颜色。
It has the sidereal zodiac around it. But yeah, sorry.
那么在外面呢，就有这个刚刚讲到的这个，就像的部落一样的那个东西。
Two degree grids here, one inside, one outside, but it has the actual constellations on the outside.
那么在外面呢，有一个真实的，就是说天上的星群都在最外面。
So you can see when, like, right now, the Aries point is just here at Pisces.
那么现在这个白羊点，大家可以看到说，就是在这个刚刚指出的地方。
In about 350 years, the spring equinox will be here at the end of sidereal Pisces going into Aquarius.
Sorry, I don't get it.
In 350 years, the spring equinox will move backwards and it will touch the beginning of the sidereal Aquarius.
那么就是说，在350年，那个星群可能会往上移到那个之前的那个白羊的那个位置。
All the Indian astrologers, the sidereal astrologers in the States will say this is the real beginning of the age of Aquarius.
那么所有的这些印度的占星学家或者那些巴比伦的占星学家会认为那是水平时代的开始。
In 300 some odd years, 350 years.
那么在350年后。
But really, if you take this, wait till the spring equinox moves along and touches the first star in Aquarius.
但是如果你把这个移到了第一个就是水瓶座的第一颗星星的话
，when it touches the first star, to me that's the real beginning of the age of Aquarius.
那么那个时候对我来说才是这个水瓶时代真正的开始。
That's in 2704.
那么那个是在
That's in the year 2704.
2774年，2704年，2074年。
2704? 2704. We're in 2014.
我们在2014年，是2704年。
So the Aquarian age doesn't really begin for 700 years.
那么所以说，水瓶年代要到700年以后才真正的开启。
We're in a Pisces era. We're in a Pisces age. This even science is corrupt. Pollution is all over. The waters are being ruined. It's all Pisces.
那么我们现在还是在双鱼时代。你看看外面的这些水啊，就是水污染啊，还有海洋还受到污染啊。我们确实是在一个双鱼的时代的。
By the time we get the Aquarian age, we'll be breathing bottled air. Maybe way before that.
那么也许等我们到了这个水瓶时代的话呢，也许我们会去会吸罐头的氧，可能
People will have oxygen farms that own cubic amounts of air.
那么也可能说人们会在那个他们自己的这个就是说去种植或者去生产这些他们的氧气。
You won't have the right to breathe unless you pay for the air.
那么你如果不支付你的这个不付钱的话，可能都没有权利去吸氧。
It's a Saturn-ruled age. It's going to take a long time to fix the pollution in the planet.
那么这是那个水瓶座是土星就是守護的那个星座，所以它会花很多时间去修复这个污染空气这个问题。
So it's not the exciting Aquarian Uranus age. No, it's clean-up time.
那么它并不是那个刺激的兴奋的那个就是天王星的这个水平时代，而应该是那个让去清理去规范的那一个时代。
It'll be a very controlled military age.
那么它会是一个非常就是军事化控制的一个时代。
We have the freedom now.
我们现在是有自由的。
But that freedom is also causing the pollution.
那么但是我们现在的自由还是就是带来了这个污染，这个环境污染的问题。
If you say not me, if you drive a car, if you have an iPhone, you're there.
那么如果你说我才没有制造那个污染呢，但是如果你是开车的，如果你使用 iPhone 的话，那你已经在制造污染。
We can't fix it all. We can't solve it, but we're part of the problem.
我们不能完全的去解决这个问题，其实我们就是这个问题的一部分。
So these are just other insights that come as you add stars, you add different levels. It keeps opening up.
那么当我们加入另外一些信息、新的信息的话，比如说我们加入星星的话，那么这一些新的视角就会向我们打开了。
So you can still see, now this is my chart, the ascendant over here now.
那么这是我的星盘，那么大家可以看到说上升点其实是在下边的，就右下角。
Because the Earth turns inside the heavens.
因为地球是在这个天空之内转动的。
And you still see the half below the horizon, the half above the
我
horizon.
们仍然看到说地平线之下是灰色的那个标出来的，白色的地方是地平线之上的部分。
It's not hard to make the adjustment to see it.
那么我们这样去调整的这个星盘去看，并不会非常困难吧？
If you use a chart that only has houses in it,
如果我们使用一个星盘只有宫位系统的话，
you're missing a lot.
你会失去很多信息。
You know, if you're going to get an operation and the doctor's coming in holding a pair of pliers and a big pair of tweezers or scissors.
如果你去做手术的话，你的医生是带着一副大的剪刀进来的。
You'll start to worry. You wish you had a scalpel, you know, but not anything.
你可能会很担心。
So most astrologers are using really gross tools.
那么大多数占星师他用的工具确实是非常的 粗暴啊。
When you try to take it to higher levels, it gets much more complicated and difficult.
那么如果说那个时候，如果我们要上升到一个新的高度去看的话，可能会很困难。
It's not so difficult. You get the natal chart, you understand it, you start learning your transits around it, you see the basics of time. Then you get to your progressions and you start watching the inner things moving in. Then you move to the degrees. Then you look at the stars. Then it starts unfolding and just laying out so it's useful.
那么其实解读星盘的话并没有这么难啊，只要我们去首先通过这个本命星图的理解，然后呢再通过行星的行运，然后呢再去通过一个个行星去解读我们次线的那个内在的这些旅程，把我们生命中的主要的时间、主要的周期、主要的阶段和主要的这个情节模式抓练出来。然后呢，当我们这个在这样的基础上能够理解本命星盘以后呢，我们可以去把这个星座的这个每一个星盘的每一个度数，加上这个那个易经的这个理解，加上这个所有的这些小行星和星群，那这样的话呢，我们会打开更多的视野，那么这些信息呢都会自然而然的为我们添加更深度的洞悉。
So sorry, I didn't mean to be so long. Okay. These are the chart forms. I designed them over the last year.
那么这是我自己在这几年中设计的、研究然后就开发的这个特殊的这个星图。
But I've been working with colored horoscopes since 1970.
但是我从70年代就开始就是研究和学习就是色彩占星学了。
I couldn't publish them.
但是我没有出版它们。
Publishing 100 colored prints in 1970 would have the different colors, different layers would have cost $25,000.
那么在那个年代，1970年代的话，把100多种色彩的这个分别的色彩跟占星学，就是说发布出来或者印刷出来的话，会花费大概$25,000吧。
And you would have had to publish 10,000 of them to be able to sell it for $25.
那么你需要去出版发行大概10万本左右的发行量，你才可以赚到这些钱。
So it's sad that I did the research, I had slides, I did things. It's not, but since there's been color MP3s, you know, it's opened up where this information can start to go out.
那么就是那些数字化的发展呢，我才能把这些信息呢，就是传达出来。
This was a more complicated chart.
那么这是一个更加复杂一点的星盘。
784 stars.
就是780多个小星星。
Can you zoom into a section? Can you make it bigger? Gotta go back. You gotta go back. Back. Yeah, okay, never mind. That's okay. Okay. Keep going. Okay, good. So if you look at these, the big black ones, they're the first magnitude stars, the bright stars.
Sorry, which one?
The black stars are first magnitude, the brightest stars.
那么黑色的这个星星是最亮的、最明亮的星星。
And the green one, the blue ones are second magnitude stars.
那么蓝色的是第二个闪亮的星星。
Third, fourth, fifth. All the stars you can see in the sky are on there.
那么你在在天空中，在银河系中能看到的星星都是在这个星图中了。
The closer they are to the center, the closer they are to the Earth.
那么它们的离这个星盘的圆周越接近呢，它们就离地球是越近的。
Then the other thing is if you look at some of these, there's a little dot around them, but around the stars you can see there's a section that tells you what the rulerships are of each star.
那么有一些这个星星都会有一些点虚点，然后有一些星星会告诉你说它们的这个守护星是哪个。
Like the stars Mars, Venus, or Jupiter, Saturn, or that's the way they used to describe the meaning of the main stars. So there's about 100 stars that have these rulerships and meanings.
那么大概有100多颗星星是有这个守护星的，然后也是有含义的。
Eventually, we use the color spectrum and the colors of stars, and they'll determine the meaning of what they are.
那么最终呢， 我们会用这个颜色图谱来理解这个星星，来定义它们的含义。
But still, you can watch your progressions move past a sequence of stars.
但是我们还是可以看到推进的星星呢，就是它移动的时候呢，去接触发了不同的星星。
We'll look at the meaning of the star, the mythology of it, the story of it, and see if it's making sense to you.
那么你可以去看一下这颗星星的意思，以及它的神话学的含义，以及它带来的它背后的含义和意义，是否在你生命中的这些时期对你有一些特殊的这个感受。
This is high frequency stuff. It's not going to affect your physical life, or it might affect your imagination.
那么它是非常高频的能量，它可能不一定就是影响你的这个物理世界的生活，但它可能会影响你的这个就是说你的思想你的这个想法。
90% of the light that comes to the earth comes from the sun and the reflection of the sun from the planets.
那么90%的地球的光呢，是从太阳以及那些行星反射太阳的光带来的。
Only 10% from the heavens, from the stars.
那么只有10%的光呢，是从星星来的，是从天空来的。
So you're dealing with really high frequencies. If you're meditating or living on high frequency, then maybe it has some meaning.
那么如果说这些都是非常高频的能量，如果你是在做冥想，如果你是和这些高频的能量链接的话，那么这些可能对你是有影响的。
We've had a couple years. It was a big transition. The galactic center was coming up and touching. This was like the whole transformation of the universe in this past year with astrology.
那么好像就是在过去一年，在占星学中好像有一些新的理论，好像是占星学的一些非常转折重要的时期。
All these big cycles coming together and aligning. Oh, everything's going to change.
那么好像那些大的时代或者大的一些趋势都来了，好像所有的事情都要改变了。
Sure, over 25,000 years.
那对啊，如果过了2500年，这些事情是会发生很深远的变化。
Nothing you're going to see and witness now.
那么你现在所看到的、所经历的这些东西。
There might be one or two special masters meditating in a cave, quiet, out there that's in tune with that bring an idea down.
那么也许那些就是说，真的在世界上是有几个人，他们是真的是在这个山洞或山顶中冥想或者打坐的人，他们真的能够接触到这些高频的能量，把这些智慧高我的智慧就带到这个世界。
A new vision, a new understanding may come in for a new world. And it may go through that person's students and teachers and go to a few generations of that. And maybe in a few hundred years, some of that will reach the average person.
那么也许就是说，那些智慧可能会通过他们的这个教导传到几代的人。也许说过了1000年的话，那些知识才会在这些普通人的生活中实现。
So there's always some masters on the planet that are way out there.
那么我们的地球上总是有那些好像类似于是说先知或者是那一些圣贤吧。
We won't see them.
我们不会看到他们。
If you could see them, it's like if a UFO came down and the spaceship come down and says, "Come with me." I'm running the other way because I figure I'm getting the bikers from another planet.
那么就是好像就是如果那些人他们带着这个就是说宇宙飞船，然后来见你的话，也可能你会吓走的。
If they were higher beings, they could affect my mind, they could affect my heart. I'd know it without having to go somewhere.
那么但是
If they were higher beings, they would communicate to my mind or to my heart. I wouldn't have to see the body. I wouldn't have to go somewhere to see them. It would just be happening.
那么如果是一些高等的智慧、高等的这个存在的话，他们不需要就是让我看见，他们只需要影响我的思维、影响我的心智、影响我的灵魂，就能够让我看到一些东西。
Someone will see this. Wow, this is incredible. It's going to be incredible in everybody's charts. Books will get written. Everybody will believe in it. And it's a little bit of information in the wrong way.
那么如果有些人说，哎呀，我看到了一些这个画面，可能说我会很出名，然后我写一些书，我会怎么样，那么这可能是一些信息的误读啊。
You can't see these things unless you take the time to learn basics of astrology, basics of a chart, learn the transits, learn the progressions, build up your sensitivity, build up your literacy, build up your openness, and maybe you might hear some of these special things.
那么，只有当你就是说，好好的去学占星，从这些最基础的去学会，然后从理解本命的星图，然后学会了看行运，学会看次线，然后呢，去增加你的这个占星的语汇，去增加你占星的理解星盘的敏感度。也许到了那个时候，你才会听到一些，就是说才会获得一些高等智慧的启示吧。
In the meantime, it's wonderful enough that even though in our bodies we can touch someone else, and even if it's for a short while, we can feel love.
那么，星盘带来的神奇就是这样的，我们可以通过星盘，能够跟对方，即使是有很短暂的、非常亲密的接触，深入他们的这个灵魂，那么这样的接触也是我认为的爱。
So hug your husband, hug your lover, hug your grandkids. Well, you got them.
那么，当你拥有你老公，当你拥有小孩的时候，当你还跟他们在一起的时候，请尽量的去拥抱他们。
It's not going to stay there forever.
他们不会永远的在你的生命中出现的。
Everything changes.
任何事情都是变化的。
We're not in control of the change.
我们对变化并没有主动权和把握权，生命是无常的。
It's like I don't want to grow old. By the time we say we're already older, we get old. We can't stop it.
那么就好像说我们都会说我不想变老，但是就是在我们说这句话的时候，我们就已经在变老了，生命就是在这样无情的流逝。
As long as we're attached to time and to life, the astrology will work. We'll see these times we're attached to it.
那么只要我们能够跟生命的这些时间、跟生命的这些运转工作的话，我们就会看到占星在我们生命中的体现。
Just back to the regular size. And then we just take it to the slides. Yeah. So, okay. So this is a computer printer. It's a program I have. Unfortunately, I finished it in 1990, in the 90s. That's before iPhones, before it still works partly in System 7, a bit in Windows 8, but it needs to be remade.
那么这是我自己做的一个软件，那么这就是我在90年代做的软件呢。那个时候还没有 iPhone， 还没有这些高科技，所以说我还需要去更新或者调整一下这个软件。
It's just an example of what all the information would be.
那么这就是这些例子，给大家看一下，说这些信息代表着什么。
This is my progress plan from 1977 to 84.
那么这是我的次线的太阳从77年到84年。
It was going through Scorpio, and it moved into Sag. It moved into Sag here.
它从这个次线太阳从这个天蝎座，然后到后面来到了这个射手座。
I was going through Scorpio. It was going through the Aquarius Pentan, the Pisces Pentan, the here Pisces Pentan, and it goes in here. It goes into the Aries Pentan.
那么然后呢，它会从这个，大家可以看一下那个小小的部落，它从这个哪一个部落变化的，也可以看出来，就是比如说它是在这个天秤座，还是在这个射手座，在摩羯座这样子，还是在那个水瓶座。
So it's 30 years in the sign. It's 5 years in the Pentan, and then it has a sub-Pentan. Virgo, Libra, Libra, Libra. It's about a year per Pentan.
那么就是大家可以看到说一个星座应该是可以分成5年是一个小部落嘛，所以它还可以再分成一个次部落，那么这些都会在这个列表中打印出来。
I don't expect you to understand. I'm just showing you this is here.
那么我不一定希望大家能够完全马上理解，我只是让大家展示一下。
Just as there are three Pentan, that's our Pentan, that's the zodiac. There's 3 levels.
那么就好像说，我会把这个星座又相内化。
At each level, there's an I Ching hexagram and a line of the hexagram.
那么每一个层级呢，都有一个就是说相应的易经的卦象。
So they're in here, hexagram 35, line 6.
这一块，那么大家可以看到说有不同的卦象啊。
So each line of the hexagram has another hexagram that rules it. So you have a line, then there's this hexagram that rules that line.
那么我们可以看到说，那个一个卦象的那个卦象，它会有一个就是好像说就是有一个跟它相关的那个卦象是有联系的。
So then there's a hexagram for every let's see, that's 30 degrees. That's every 6 degree, every 6. 1. So this is every 1 minute. It's about, I'm not sure the time, but it's a shorter. Let's see. Every 10 minutes, of a degree, there's a hexagram and a line. When you get down here, each line of a hexagram, the smallest level, is 1 minute and 50 seconds of a degree. 1 minute and 50 seconds of a degree.
那么，每一个卦象呢是1分钟1度53分吧，就是星座中的1度53分。
A little degree on the chart, 1 minute and 50 seconds of that.
那么，很小的1度是1分钟，代表1分钟52秒。
That's bigger than any of the planets. Each planet would fit inside of that.
那么每一颗行星呢都会，就是说，移动到那个地方。
So it's a really accurate measuring system.
那么它是就加入了卦象以后呢，就是一个非常非常精准的一个衡量系统了。
What this does is you have one hexagram will be there's a 6-year hexagram, there's a 1-year hexagram, there's a 2-month hexagram, and each line on the smallest level is 10 days.
就是好像有一个就是10天的或者几个月的这个卦象，但是每一个卦象最小的这个单位呢，就是 how many the smallest
one line is 10 days.
那么一条线呢是10天。
So, Confucius said, if I had 50 more years to live, I would devote it entirely to the study of the I Ching.
那么孔子说，如果我还有50年的生命的话，或者还有5年的生命的话，我会把这些生命全都投入到学习易经中。
But if you're throwing hexagrams and you're asking questions, you're never going to run across every line.
那么，但是如果你只是就是说去投这个试草或者去这样进行占卜的话，你可能永远不会去就是说占卜到所有的这个卦象。
So if you were meditating, if you're studying, and you're doing this, you get a line for every 10 days.
但是如果你在学习的话，你每一天你都能够经历一个，每10天都能经历一个卦象的这根线。
If you spend 10 days contemplating that line of that hexagram.
那么如果你花10天去冥想，冥想那一个特殊卦象的那一天，也就是那10天是代表那一个卦象的。
For your progressed sun.
那么如果是为你的这个自线的月亮去做这个太阳做这个工作的话
You would have studied in 10 years every line of every hexagram with the soul and the depth of your heart.
那么你会在那个期间呢去学习你的这个灵魂和心应该学习的这个功课。
You know it in a way it's never been able to be studied before.
那么你也会去通过一个你之前从来没有的这个钻研过或者经历过的一个方法去学习。
Now the I Ching books were written by different people, different parts of it, over thousands of years.
那么《易经》这本书呢，是由不同的人，也是在不同的历史的时间撰写的。
So you start accessing the wisdom about relationships, to heaven, to earth, above, below, about life, how to deal with change, for your chart, for your horoscope.
那么你通过《易经》的这个链接呢，你可以通过这个人生的这个变化来去学习和深度的理解变化以及光明和黑暗的关系，以及你自己的这个星盘。
So it's like you study all astrology, you get all this, you get up this level, and suddenly you're just at the foot of another master.
那么就好像说，我们学习占星，学习了这么多东西，然后突然间我们就好像又到了一个山脚。又要开始学习新的东西了。
So this program calculates the sun's position, progressed sun's position for each day, divides it up to get the 6 divisions, and then puts in the exact aspects when it enters the 4th house, when it opposes the IC or conjuncts the IC, and tells you the pentans and the hexagrams and the lines for it.
那么这个软件就是很有用，就是它告诉你说自线的太阳呢是行进到哪一个位置，然后呢它行进到是换星座，或者是说进入一个新的宫位，或者是进入一个相位的话，都会就是都会显示出来。然后通过这个时间点，我们会有相关联的这些其他的信息可以解读。
So at some point, hopefully over the next few years, I can get a team of astrologers or people who want to learn astrology who are programmers. And we can put this program together so it's mobile, so it's app-based.
那么我希望有一天，就是说那些就是想要深入学习的占星师，或者是说懂技术的占星师，我们可以一起工作去做一些软件，或者是说应用，把我这个东西给做出来。
It was made for printouts, not for chart graphics with the program right now. But these charts that I showed you, they'll be added to this.
那么那个我刚刚给大家显示的那个就是我自己创造的那个星盘的话，也可以跟它加在一起，就变成一个软件。
And the 30-point systems, all the things we use in Rasta will be in it.
那么我们在这个我所有教学体系中的所有的知识都会结合在这里面。
But it's a few years away.
但是我相信这大概会需要花几年的时间去做一些工作。
It just requires meeting the right people who want to make the trade-off. I want to learn astrology. I don't mind doing some programming. Then we get it.
那么也许就是需要我遇到就是说志同道合的，也想学占星，也想去做这个事情的人吧。
This is a more detailed progress form.
那么这是更详细和具体的这个推进的这个表格。
It has one sign of the zodiac, Sagittarius.
那么这是这个星座的一个星座，就是射手座。
It shows the 5-degree pentans.
那么就是每5度呢，就是一个小部落一样的。
It shows the hexagrams for each 6 degrees.
那么每6个度数呢，就是一个卦象。
It has the lines of the hexagrams in each degree.
那么每一度呢，就是卦象的一个帛吧，一个符号，一个爻。
It has the stars in the sky all put along here.
那么就是说，所有的这个天空的星星呢，都是放在下面的。
And then I calculated all the aspects to my chart.
那么我计算了我星盘中所有的相位。
I would be in that sign of the zodiac. So then I just put the suns moving along here right through it.
那么然后我就是把推进的太阳呢，就这样行进的路线画出来了。
So that's 30 years of progression.
那么这是30年的这个自线太阳的推进。
But when you start breaking it down into 5-year sections or 6-year sections, you start to have really themes, 5-year themes with a lot of detail in the middle of it.
那么当我们把这个详细的记录下来以后呢，我们可能就会发现，就是每5年的或者每6年的都会有一些详细的细节或者是一些主题出来。
Who would even imagine astrology could do this?
谁可以想象，就是占星可以做这些工作呢？
Mercury in Scorpio, retrograde. They got there.
那么这是因为我的那个次线的水星呢，在这个天蝎座，它不停的那个顺行逆行，顺行逆行，所以我获得了这些知识，研究了这么多东西。
So it really should be twisted up this way, because then you can read. You see the events: Sun conjunct Venus. There's the information there. The marriage number 2 started at the beginning, AFAN, different things. Then test other aspects. Here it touches a first magnitude star, and I just put end of marriage number 3, beginning of my first live music performance.
那么就是这些事件都是可以跟它这个推进的太阳的一些相位联系起来的。比如说，大家应该倒过来看，比如说第一个就是次线的太阳合相金星的话呢，就是关于我第一段婚姻的事情。然后当后面第一个次线的太阳合相第一颗最亮的星星的时候，我开始了这个第一次的这个音乐表演。
So when you take this, if you try and fit this into just one sign of the zodiac on your chart, you can't see it.
那么这只是在你星盘中的，就是说，一个星座，就是一个星座，但它包含了这么多的信息。如果你去把它往下挖掘的话，
When you slow down the progressions and you're watching it in detail, it opens it up to deeper levels.
那么当我们慢下来，去以这个次线的这个速度去看的话呢，你去慢下来去看的话呢，我们是需要去结合更多的内容、更多的数据、更多的信息，去理解那些生命中发生的事件的。
So once you have it all laid out, then you just see the dates when this happens. You put the dates when it occurs on it.
那么我们把这些图表都做好以后呢，我们就可以把具体发生的时间写在上面。
You go back to your spreadsheet with your history.
然后呢，你再回到你的那一个人生的那一张，就是记录你人生故事的 Excel 表格中。
And you start filling it in.
然后你再把它这个填进去。
I know every now and every year or so you go back, you fill in more things, you remember some things.
那么在这个你的生命的过程中，你可以就是慢慢一点点的把这些事件都填满。
So in my son went through Sagittarius, so for 30 years I was understanding, I was experiencing Sagittarius deeply.
那么我的次线的太阳进入这个射手座的时候呢，这30年中我非常深度的这个了解了，就是展现出了射手的能量。
So now if I talk to a Sagittarian, I have a lot more level of depth. Oh, it's just a fire sign.
那么所以现在如果我来谈这个射手座的话，我会有很多深度的理解，而不是仅说那是一个火象的星座。
We have telescopes that magnify the skies. This is the microscope.
那么我们有这个天文望远镜，可以放大天上的行星。那么这就是我们的显微镜，去看到我们内在的生活。
But as you're studying your chart deeply like this,
但是当我们自己深入的这么详细的、细致的去学习我们自己的时候
it expands the whole zodiac, it expands the whole astrology. All of a sudden, we're just humbly standing at the edge of the universe, wondering what's going on.
那么这好像就扩大了你的视野，扩大了你整个生命，就好像我们是站在这个宇宙的边缘去探索，去好奇生命的这些所有的事件。
We still have a boat to navigate through it.
但是我们还是有一条船可以让我们去引导我们航行的。
We can still make our sense and develop our meaning around it.
那么当我们在这个航行的时候，我们还是可以建立自己对这些事件的理解和意义的。
Not everybody's going to get to this level.
并不是所有的人都是能够在这样的层次、这样的深度去活出他们生命的。
It's just not going to make sense to most people. Who needs to know it that deeply?
那么，但是呢，就是说，这对某一些人会非常有意义。
But sometimes you might have a client that's well beyond you, higher level of consciousness, or at some point where somebody's dying or looking for some special point of sensitivity. How could something happen? How could someone get inspired or enlightened? And it might be said, you do the progressions and somewhere, whether it's Mercury, the Venus, you discover something. You say, well, look at that.
那么，如果有的时候，如果我们想象一下，我们遇到一个客户，他是比我们更高的意识和觉知的，我们如果普通的话，我们没有办法去跟他们去咨询或者做个案。但是，如果我们能够通过这么深入的去了解，这么深入的去挖掘的话，也许我们会给他们一些，也是可以给到他们一些启迪的。
So if you're becoming an astrologer, it's simple. You start, but you're going to be studying all your life from now on.
那么，如果你想成为一个占星师，这是很简单的，你可以现在就成为一个占星师。但是，当你成为占星师这一刻以后呢，你会一辈子都会去致力于学习。
Every chart you do, you're going to learn more from than what the person is going to learn from you.
那么，你每次咨询了或者研究的这个星盘，你将会从这个星盘的主人中学习到他从你那儿学习到的更多的东西。
That's valid.
这是非常有效的。
Yeah, so none of the advanced techniques will be useful or comprehensible until you've secured the basic foundation.
那么，只有当你就是说把这些占星的基础的知识搭建稳固以后，那么你才那些高阶的技巧，那些高阶的这个技巧才会对你有用，才会对你有一些补充的作用。
Yeah, it takes time to understand time.
因为你需要花时间去理解、了解时间的概念。
Thank you.
非常感谢。
So I tried to do is cover the different levels as best as I could.
那么，因为这个工作坊的时间非常短嘛，所以我尝试着在这么短的时间里面，把所有就是说本来应该是比较长的周期的一些课程浓缩在这里面。我已经尽力能够做到我自己最好的状态。
I had to cut corners. I didn't cover everything. Progressions is like a 13, 14 week, maybe a 20-week class.
那么自限推运的话，应该是通常在我的教学中是13个月到13个周到20周的一个教学周期。
Transits is a 10, 20-week class.
那么行运呢是十几个星期的这样的一个周期的一个课程。
But I know you've been exposed to a lot of astrology, different astrology, being exposed to things.
那么，但是我知道大家已经学了很多不同的体系的占星，学了很多的其他的课程。
I'm not trying to tell you what you have to do. I just wanted to set a standard. This is how I work. This is my standard.
那么我只是想向大家展示，不是告诉大家说你一定要这么做，我只是想向大家展示我的标准，我是怎么解读星盘的，是以我的例子向大家去展示我是怎么工作的。
You'll develop your own. You'll build it. You'll add extra things. You'll do other things. Just whatever makes sense to you.
那么你会建立你自己的体系，建立你自己的这个占星的这个方法。那么只要你会加入自己对自己有用的东西，只要你能够演化出自己的语言就可以了。
But you're safer if you thoroughly learn the basics first.
那么，但是呢，你先学这些基础的东西，对你来说是更稳健的，是更踏实的。
It's easy to be impressed by all this knowledge, all these ideas, how to make association, how to connect to this, make all these associations. But it's not going to make it easier to say hello.
那么对你来说，学习这么多，就是说，就是炫耀自己的这些知识，或者是说一些这个技能、那个技能，这个跟那个连接，可能好像让你觉得非常的博学，但是这也没有办法让你更好的跟那个人去打招呼，或者有这样的一个人和人之间的连接。
I had a friend, and he was visiting a Buddhist community.
那么我有个朋友，他在拜访一个佛教的这个社区。
And on that day, there was a special Buddhist master there.
那么在那一天呢，有一个非常就是说有能力的一个非常厉害的一个佛教的，就是好像住持在那儿。
Hundreds of people were lined up to see this Buddhist master.
那么有上百个人，就是都排队在那儿等着去看这个佛教的大师。
Everyone was allowed to go in and ask one question.
那么每个人都只能被允许进入这个房间一次，然后问一个问题。
So everybody's worried about the question they're going, worried about the question they're going, and asking these
那
questions.
每个人都非常担心他到底应该问什么问题。
My friend was about 100 deep in the line. He finally gets in there.
那么我的朋友呢，他排在这第100多个位置，那么他终于进到了房间。
The master said, "What's your question?"
那么那个大师问你的问题是什么？
He says, "Hi, how are you?"
他说你怎么样？
The master started laughing and went off for a walk, and they took off, and he had a special connection with him.
那么那个大师笑了，然后他们一起就是去就去那个散步了。他们就是因为他这句话，他们建立了一个非常特殊的连接。
So you might be able to look at a chart and see, oh, this person needs a hug.
那么也许你只是通过看星盘就知道说，哎，这个人需要一个拥抱。
But really, you should be able to look at the person without the chart and know they need a hug and give them one.
那么其实实际上你应该看着这个星盘，你知道他就是说需要一个拥抱之前，你应该就马上给他一个拥抱。
Astrology is a mental yoga. We develop our mind.
那么占星呢是一个头脑的瑜伽，我们发展了我们的头脑。
It goes crazy and out of control if you don't keep in touch with your heart.
但是如果我们不跟我们自己的心做一个连接的时候，它就会变得非常的疯狂。
Thanks.
非常感谢。
Everybody's been so nice. I'm so grateful for you guys coming. It's been a really pleasure to be here in China.
那么大家对我都非常好，所以我来到这儿感到和大家在一起感到非常的开心。
多说一句啊，下周2就是后天，Robin 老师会在另外这里不远的一个场地做一个能量的唱诵会，你们没有报名的可以向我报名。